All right, we're back. We still don't have a name. But yeah, we'll work on the lead-in.
But what I was saying was just like, whenever you're starting out, it's important to know what your end goal is. So, do you want to reach financial independence in 5 years? Are you just planning for retirement in 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever? Because if you don't know what your timeline is for these things, then you don't even know what a good deal is.
Yeah, I hear you. On the flip side, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I think even if I'm buying, like we try and buy and hold, meaning we buy and we want to have it for 15 years at least. And basically the idea is your mortgage payment goes down over time and, a lot more goes to your pocket essentially. But like we still want year one solid numbers, solid math. Partly because of where we are. We want, we're in like a more greedy phase of our life, I guess. We're not like sheltering wealth. We're trying to escape the rat race.
Yeah. The other thing that a lot of people, when they're doing that, miss out on too is the headache factor, I call it.
Yeah.
Just
totally.
The cheaper the place and the more of a deal it looks like on paper, the far more headaches that you're going to have. So our first two deals are definitely, that's kind of where I learned that a little bit.
Okay.
The first one that we did needed a lot of work. Had so much stuff go wrong. It was very money intensive when we were in a place when we probably shouldn't have taken on something that was very money intensive.
Yeah.
But on a spreadsheet, it looked real nice.
Yeah, spreadsheet magic. Yeah. Very dangerous.
Today, 4 years later, it looks like a really good deal because we've gotten over most of the hiccups. We've replaced a lot of stuff. We have 2 good tenants in there. We never had tenant problems in that building, but we definitely kept ourselves pretty tight with that one. But then the second one that we bought really didn't. I mean,
this was your turnkey, basically.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it needed a few things, but
what's a few things mean?
We painted, put in light fixtures, cleaned it up. Okay. There was nothing expensive, nothing individual over $1,000.
Okay.
The roof was fine. Everything's been great. And at the time, it definitely, I think we were supposed to cash flow like $95 a month. With my conservative projections.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going to be great, but we were going to live there, so it didn't matter. But then over time, we still haven't really had to do anything to that, and it's been 3 years on that one.
Okay.
And right now, we've taken the tenant situation, we basically improved our cash flow, I want to say, like $350 or $400 a month.
Got it.
Just by
and that's was that with you guys living in it? You were doing 95? No. Okay, you're saying, hey, we're paying ourselves rent, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Just trying, because people always expect like I'm gonna make $300 and live in one half, and it's like,
yeah,
maybe a couple years ago you could have pulled that off, but that's tough to do right now.
But we increased the rents of both units from what we thought they would over time. The rental market really picked up.
What does that look like? What does that rent ramp? So you started at $650 and you got it up to $900, or what?
We started, downstairs tenant was at $600 when we got it.
For a 1-bed, 1-bath?
1.5 bed. There's a bedroom. There's like 2 bedrooms, but it's a Pittsburgh 2-bedroom where it goes through one bedroom to get to the other.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Technically have their own entrance to the bathroom. It's kind of a weird layout when I describe it. But
yeah.
In person,
good for somebody with a kid, kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually everyone that's lived there. They've had like a younger kid, and it makes sense because they have like almost a crib room.
Yeah, they want to trap them in there. We got a kid, so
makes sense.
We would do that.
So they started out, I think, it was either 600 or a little under 600. We upped those people to $650.
Mm-hmm.
They
in a year.
Yeah. When they were up, it was probably 5 or 6 months. And then they ended up having some interrelationship issues, so then they kind of left.
Kind of left?
Yeah. He left. She was left with the rent by herself. I could tell she wanted to stay, but I could tell she wasn't going to afford it.
Yeah, it was just too tight.
So I just had a conversation with her and said, like, hey, do you want to just leave? Just pay me rent until I find a tenant. I'll start looking for a tenant. Found a tenant maybe a month and a half after we started that process. Yeah. And then it helped her out. So it's kind of goodwill too.
Yeah, it's really good to have those conversations. Like, people, I guess you have to be a little careful that they'll take advantage of you. But if you go in with your agenda,
Yeah.
You can get so much out, and it's a win-win, like you said. Like, shoot.
And we had no vacancy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If I wouldn't have had the conversation with her, she could have stopped paying.
Yeah.
Would have had to evict her.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And then the next people we found, they were in there at $775.
Okay.
Total. They were in there for almost 2 years.
Okay.
They had a child when they arrived, and then they had a second baby, so then it just became too small.
Yeah.
We actually worked with them to find a house, so that was kind of a good transition too. We always try to work out our transitions so there's no vacancy, because I told them, like, if you use me to buy your house, I'll let you out of your lease with no penalty.
The agent hustle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Weird thing. But the biggest benefit to it is just then we know when they're moving out.
Yeah, exactly.
So we know when to market it,
like with high precision.
Yeah.
That's great.
So we did that, and then the new people were in there at $850. So we went from $600 to $850 on that unit. The upstairs unit, I'll give you the shorter version. That one went from $800 to, I want to say they're 12.
Oh wow.
1210 now.
And was that a 2-bed?
3-bed, 2-bed.
3 and 2.
So that's
okay. That's
the
what
nice
you had
one.
been living in.
That was the one, yeah.
And you guys
and
you guys did a lot of work on that one.
Like same deal. Painting.
Oh yeah.
Hardware.
Mostly just cosmetic.
Yeah, nothing major.
Okay.
And then we also refinanced that property now that rates are low. So we paid. I always view the refinances as kind of like I look at an ROI on the refinance costs.
Yeah, of course.
So it cost, I want to say, $4,500 to refinance that mortgage or something like that.
And what fees?
Fees and assorted garbage. I don't even know what it all goes to. I just knew that was the total.
That's what the bank said.
And then we're in the process of doing that. But then once we do that, we'll save $115 a month.
Yeah. So over the long run.
Yeah, so over the long run, even a year, like the ROI is not too bad. I mean, you're essentially making over $1,200 a month on a roughly $5,000 investment.
Wait, 1,200 or 120?
Well, 120 a month, so times 12 annual.
Yeah, let's call it 1,400 a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool with that one. We paid almost $140 for that place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you paid $140. Rents were at $650 and
like
$9.
$8. Yeah, like $8. I think when the lady upstairs was at like $8 something.
So it kind of hits a little under the 1% rule.
Yep. But then that's, I think, what people miss when they're getting started is that a lot of people that I run into will kind of look past that sort of thing, but then they don't.
When you say look past that sort of thing,
they would look at that deal and say they don't want it because the numbers are too tight.
Oh.
So they would be like, your starting numbers are too bad.
Yeah.
I won't buy this for $140. I want to pay $100. It's like, okay, but there's a lot of demand on here, so you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And what they're missing out on is the longer term vision to see that, okay, well, I can turn this into this. I can make it better. I can improve it over time. And if I told them my numbers on it now, they would gladly pay $140 for it.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have paid $140 for it when they had the opportunity to make it into it.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's the struggle, I guess.
Yeah, it's really hard as a person who's closer to the new side of this. It's really hard to. It's probably the biggest investment or purchase you've made. And for some reason, people buy a car for like 40 G's and they finance like all of it. But they're like, this will work fine. There's like a warranty. And on a house, you're just like, oh God, what is?
Well, you can get a warranty; it doesn't work. I'm not supposed to say that.
Yeah. I have a buddy with a home warranty right now. He's going through all those problems. Yeah. We should probably actually talk about home warranties and why they are not all they're cracked up to be. Are you allowed to talk about that as a realtor? I'll do that one solo, and I'll just riff on.
Puts me in a weird position.
You have to talk. They can't read your face nodding no. Even though you nodded yes. Okay, well, I'll just do that one solo. We'll talk to Imran, and we'll ask him.
He's got a good interview.
Yeah.
Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I mean, I think it depends.
It's something. It's not everything. That's what I was saying.
The important thing to know that I can comment on is that it's important if you do have a home warranty how you call them and how you describe the issue.
Yeah,
it's basically like any kind of insurance claim.
It's an insurance claim.
You don't want, obviously you can't, no fraud, no lies, whatever. But you also have to just say things in a way that you don't give too much detail, that they find something in your 80-page policy to decline.
Yeah. The other thing that he's coming across is like, the insurance company's going to pick who comes out and does the work. They're going to pick the price that they want to price it at, and like part of the work will be covered and part of the work won't be covered.
Yeah. And you also need to make sure that you follow the right procedures too, because some companies will let you hire your own contractor, and then you can call them first and come out and call. But other places, if you call a contractor first and they come out, then the company is going to, they might decline you.
Yeah.
So you didn't follow the right policy.
So
same thing with maintenance too. Like on your car, you get a car warranty.
Yeah, you have to take it into BMW or whatever you get.
Same thing with like the home warranties. If you don't maintain stuff properly, you don't have records, some of them will decline you. Like if you have a 4-year home warranty, you keep renewing, but you don't maintain your furnace every year, they might not cover anything with your furnace because you're not changing the filters, you're not cleaning it out. So if you want the benefit, you have to play by the rules. But the truth is that if you
nobody does that. I just bought furnace filters this morning, but we're not sucking those vents dry and getting them cleaned out.
Just get houses with boilers, no filters.
Yeah, that's a Pittsburgh thing. I don't know if you're gonna find that all over. Well, anyway, in this area. Okay. Well, that was an interesting little tangent. End home warranties. So where were we? We were talking about you, and you were going through basically your process. We were talking about like what a good deal is.
Right.
Yeah. Look, I think they'll either do things other people aren't willing to do, or they think or believe things that other people aren't willing to believe. And that's pretty much it in terms of where I've seen real estate. Or you have like an electrician in your family. I see some really creative value add stuff occasionally. Whenever you hear value add real estate investing, it just means they do construction inside the property, basically.
Not always.
No?
I mean, value add can just mean anything that you're doing to get more benefit out of the property than the current owner's getting. So that can either be construction or billing, or just better practices or anything. I mean, that could be a conversation too, like how to add value to buildings for another day, because that's primarily that's all that I've done.
Yeah,
has been value add stuff. And I think the other thing that people do, like when they're looking at a deal, is that you need to have some vision for the property longer term. Because if you don't have any longer term vision for the property, unless you want to be like a flipper or something, which I've flipped a house. I haven't done it that much.
I can't speak to it.
I have to deal with my least favorite part of the business, which is contractors. That's like the whole job outside of finding deals. So not really interested in that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But technical malfunction.
I think we're okay.
But yeah, I mean, deals are pretty much, you just have to decide if it's a good deal for you. Because what's a good deal for you is going to depend on more factors than just the spreadsheet.
Yeah, I think you have to run the numbers. Like, and I don't know, there's a good quote, I think it's Buffett. It's like, if you need a spreadsheet to know if it's a good deal, it's probably not a good deal. You're running it too tight. So there's some good rules of thumb. We were talking about 1% earlier, which is basically like, if I buy it for $100,000, I want to be able to rent it out for $1,000.
Yeah.
And then I just put 1 month into vacancy. I figure out how many months are going to go into taxes. So
which also comes with time, because like your 1 month of vacancy, for instance, if operationally you're strong there, like if you're self-managing, something like that, or if you have a manager and they're strong at it, 1 month is fine to be conservative if you want to put it in.
Yeah, it's conservative.
But I know that unless I'm renovating a property, I'm not usually going to have a month of vacancy, because I'm going to notify the tenant far enough in advance that I know if they're leaving, and then I'm going to market it while they're there. So we almost always have found we usually find tenant before the current one vacates. So our effective vacancy on these places is far less than 5%, but it's just because operationally we're doing it the right way. And sometimes I've heard people say back to me like, well, what if the rental climate gets worse? Okay, well then I would just start giving the tenants notice 90 days ahead of time instead of 60 days ahead. I would just change my practices so that I almost always had a tenant. There it is again, almost always. I almost always had a tenant right when the lease ends.
Yeah.
And then that just keeps it sandwiched. So once we put that first tenant in there, we very rarely have vacancy unless we're fixing it up. If it needs fixes, we usually just market it. We tell the tenants when they come through, you're going to have 15 days between when you leave and when the old person leaves and when you move in. So you have to delay 15 days.
Yeah. And they're usually fine with that, in my experience.
But you use a month of vacancy and
just, in the underwriting, I think pragmatically that hasn't been the case for all the reasons you described. We also just set all our leases to expire in the same month. That way it's like we know the market, we control it a lot more, so to speak. It's in the summer for us when basically we can rent them out for hire, and we have places with stairs, so they just don't show well in the winter, that kind of stuff. You don't always have control, but anyway, it's more just about not trying to keep things too tight. We want a little wiggle room because okay, fine, you can lower the vacancy, but I think pragmatically when you do the repair value estimations, for me anyway, I'm always coming under on this. Even when I think I'm putting in contingency, like, I'm just always at Home Depot spending $50 on something over here. We wind up running over. Just
you mean you go over your
so we buy it. We say, okay, this is what we think. This is what it rents for now. Whatever it rents. Like the first deal we did, I think the rents were like $5 and $5.50 or something, super low for the area. We were like, we could probably get these up. I think we wrote them in as 6 and 8, and now the one is renting for $7.25, and we just listed the other one for $8.25, I think.
Yeah.
And so conservative there, conservative on the vacancy as well, like we just discussed. And then we were like, oh, we'll do these improvements, and I was like, okay, it was fine, but we missed one major thing, which was this box gutter. And I also thought I was gonna re-pour the stairs in the front myself. I thought I'd just patch them. But then after talking to a couple people, they're like, look, that's a liability. Just do it right. And then I don't know. So anyway, in practice, the repairs have been an area where it's hard for me to evaluate. And as someone getting in, I think you just have to know, like, the first one we kind of call the academy. Like, we're just learning. Even though the deal had room for mistakes, I guess, is especially on the first one, because we're not super efficient. And my undergrad training is in industrial engineering, which is like making conveyor belts run and all this stuff. And basically, when you're running at like 90% utilization, like everything's maxed out. If anything goes wrong, chaos just erupts. Mm-hmm. Which I think you were kind of alluding to in your first deal. Like when money gets tight and all that stuff, like
it's the only time this has ever been stressful. I mean,
stressful.
There have been situations that are stressful and annoying and worry me. Sometimes, like, people talk about lawyers. Sometimes, like, tenants are like, I'm going to hire a lawyer. Yeah. And you realize that most of it's hot air. But, or different things happen. But the most stressful thing is just whenever you have something, you don't have the money to cover it. Yeah. So then you got to go to some random line of credit or source or whatever.
Yeah.
And then now that we've kind of, I guess, got lucky with the first view and sort of survived it, now it's like we have more of a buffer.
Yeah.
So that's where it's not stressful. Just kind of like your conservative numbers. It's like that's...
Yeah, and look, we know we miss deals because we do that.
Yeah.
We write ourselves out of deals. But we, and that's just our philosophy, I think, to what you were talking about. Like, a good deal is different for everybody, and it'll be different for us in a year, right? Yeah. What a good deal means. But for our first one, and we had a 6-month-year-old or something like that. So, we were just like, look, we don't want to take on a ton of anxiety right now. Life is complicated and dynamic enough. So let's just, and we're buying it, it wasn't like a distressed property, but it needed work. So it's like, we're already signing up for more change and more work. Let's not also get into a place where we immediately regret what we're doing on the first deal.
Yeah.
Like, now my wife is so happy. We're done. Like our rent is paid for by our tenant.
Yeah.
Like including utilities. We have a great situation, and even that deal, it's we got into it for 80. It's probably worth 140, 150, honestly. If I was gonna, but like we don't even consider it worth that. And we
just something that you're gonna hold for
exactly, and we keep it light, and the cash flows is good, and my wife appreciates it. But there were moments where she was like, "I hate doing this because we have a baby and we have a contractor coming, and he's like, whatever, ripping up floors or something as the kid's trying to sleep." So that's the flip side of the house hack. I do think you have to be.
The stress part that we were talking about is probably the most positive side. There's really no, like you were gonna say, the contractors coming and disruption to your life is a downfall, I guess.
I think like for us with a kid, it's more complicated now, right? Yeah. Like a year ago would have been no problem at all. Like whatever, who cares? They're here. Yeah. If you work from home, you have to figure out what you're going to do for that day or whatever. But most people just go to the office and they're like, you have to leave it unlocked and hope they don't steal your stuff. That's basically and that's totally worth buying something for $30,000 less than what it would have been to repaint the kitchen and maybe put in a new countertop. I don't know. There's this default buying behavior where people are like, yeah, this makes sense. Like everyone else is doing it. And I think as soon as you snap out of that default behavior, is super valuable. Like, my wife just got 40% off everything in Patagonia. I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but we told some people about it, and they were all like, "Oh, hell yeah!" And like we didn't buy anything because we were like, "We're just gonna buy this on eBay if we want it." And
after they buy it, and then sell it.
Well, yeah, sort of, not, but yeah,
not directly.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, if I want this, I'll just buy it on eBay. And like those discounts like snap people into that mindset of like, oh, I gotta or they buy a car and they're like, yeah, I should buy a $36,000 car. It's the same with your house. It's just one of the biggest purchases you make. College is probably like the big exception to this. We shouldn't even get into that. I feel like that's gonna be a big whatever. But with housing, everyone's got housing. Like everyone's in real estate somehow. You have to live somewhere. And unless you're Osama bin Laden and you're in a cave.
Still living somewhere.
Yeah,
he had to pay a lot for that.
Still had a compound. Yeah, that's true. Tony and Gotti, realtor. Anyway.
I don't need to believe
lose all your clientele through the affiliation.
But I think what you're saying is useful, and the reason why house hacking really benefits the level we described is that it reduces the stress a lot. Because you do have to be living somewhere. Even though owning a house in general costs money, and you do have to put money into things. Even if you buy a perfect house, it's still eventually going to break.
And you totally get sucked into like, fix up the front yard, put these new hydrangeas, like all these, the HGTV effect is super for real.
Living lean is probably the biggest benefit to also trying to invest in real estate.
Yeah.
Like if your goal in this is to get like ludicrously rich, yes, that could happen, but that's just like going to Hollywood to become an actor. Like, could happen.
Yeah.
But you're probably just going to end up, working in accounts receivable for a company in Los Angeles.
As an actor, not as in real estate.
As an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
maybe accounts receivable. But probably a waiter.
Really, I think the biggest thing is just kind of living lean, reaching financial independence, and that sort of thing, where even if you don't become ludicrously wealthy, it's going to be more work to become ludicrously wealthy in real estate than I think just trying to find a job where you would become incredibly wealthy would be. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not ludicrously.
I guess not wealthy,
so.
Because wealth includes money tied up in equity. I guess I just mean cash flow.
Yeah.
Like people talk about getting rich on cash flow. It's like
it's pretty hard to do.
Maybe in 40 years when everything you bought's paid off and works out, but you're not gonna unless you live lean, this is going to be very difficult to do.
Yeah, I think, honestly, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Brandon Turner's got a free book that he wrote forever ago. And he's like, look, you can do 4 houses in 5 years. And he's like, 1 year, buy a house. Next year, just don't do anything. Just wait a year and learn how it's going. Yeah. And then you do this and, you can basically get $1 million in equity, not in cash flow, in 5 years. And that's pretty hard to do that in like a 9 to 5
I
in
think
5 years.
whenever you're focused on the cash flow, like I was when I started, and I still mostly am focused on the cash flow, the equity is the part that you miss.
Yeah.
Because I know now when I have to do like personal financial statements, it's ludicrous how much your equity just kind of like builds. Especially if you do value add real estate.
Yeah.
And then you look at the current values of things and just, I mean, it can swing. Like it can go up and down and everything.
You don't want to count on it.
Right. But when you look at that, that's the real wealth driver in real estate.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. I love that quote, and that's like, for me, that's really the draw of real estate. Like, you know, yeah, you make some cash flow from your tenants. It's not going to be life-changing money with 1 unit or 2 units even. But the equity over 30 years
Even
and all
one
that,
place.
you know, it makes money for you while you sleep. So it's something. And I mean, even what is financial independence is an interesting question. You know, we talk about it in our household. It's just like trying to be in control of your life, basically.
Yeah.
For us, that's how we think about it. So, you know, like we don't want, you know, I drive a 10-year-old car and that's fine. Gets me A to B. Love that. And like for me, my aunt died last week. And I couldn't go to the funeral because I had to fly and travel for work. And that's like, you know, that removing that from my life, or like my
time. For me, it's time independence. For you, it sounds like it's a little bit time independence too.
Yeah, you just want to be able to do what you want to do. I mean,
not even true financial. Yeah. Like financial independence in that your bills are covered, but the more important thing is the time. For me, it sounds like, you know, that reference, like being able to just dip and go away for a week to spend time with your family whenever there's a death in the family. It's an important thing.
Yeah.
And if you're stuck working.
Yeah. I mean, look, and that job gives us healthcare. So there's a lot of things going on. Like, could I have said, hey, I want to take off? Yeah, I could have. But there's all these subtle things in the employment thing. Like, you know, there's no like formal retaliation, but there's minor retaliation for stuff like that. So. And
sure, John, I'll cover your TPS reports while you're gone.
Yeah, something like that anyway. But yeah, I mean, like right now, we basically have more work because of what we're doing. Like very candidly, we have more work overall, right? But we're building something, and that's super motivating. You know, the motivation aspect is, I think, also really critical to discuss.
That's a whole other topic of why I think, even if it's not like a passion, I think in some way.
No, I'm not passionate about it at all.
Real estate has provided, like, I always talk about how when you're growing up in high school or college or whatever, there's always like a goal, right? So you're given a predetermined goal. In high school, it's graduate.
Like graduate,
college,
get done.
Graduate. Yeah. Once you graduate from college, it's find a job. Then once you find a job, it's like, ooh, what's this job? What am I working towards? Yeah. And it's like, it's hard when you leave to find that thing. And I think a lot of people, you know, they find it through their job. So some people get a job and then it becomes artificial through that. I think that's maybe a smaller percentage of the population than people will tell you at parties. But for me, that's kind of been what real estate feels. It's almost like, you know, it creates something for you to work on. And I think one of the tenets of happiness that people talk about is like finding an expertise and working on it. And, sort of, and even if it's not an expertise, it's something you build with. It's something you're working towards, which is always whenever I think a lot of people that are drawn towards real estate, most of those people are people who find purpose and value in building something for themselves, whether it's a life or business.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like for me, when I started my career, I was like, I'm going to be that hardworking SOB that's going to put in, you know, I'm just going to make sure I can make as much money as quickly as I can. Yeah. And now, as I've gotten a little older, I actually don't want to be dependent on that job. And I actually looked forward. I saw people that did that for a long time, and they're super fragile at their job. You know, at a big company, you know, that job, you become a spreadsheet exercise. Unless you're a salesperson and like you're very quantifiable in terms of your value.
And even then, you get fired when you do too well.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't experienced that.
I had a few sales jobs, and I saw a lot of people who were doing really well in the company. They would gain new accounts, and then they would get fired because they had too much business and the company was paying too much commission. And then they'd just bring in somebody new to service as accounts. That person got their repeat cycle.
Yeah.
You become too expensive for the company.
That's
too good.
Yeah. So that was
true.
a lot of our motivation, was just like de-risking jobs.
You make your life your own control.
Yeah, for sure. And like with real estate, if I want to go get another one, I can go get another one. Yeah. Does that make sense? I mean, you need money and stuff, but it is a skill set.
Once you become a little bit experienced, I think that you find that you don't even need to be the one.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. That's not a place we've really gotten into, but yeah, that's definitely true.
I mean, I'm not fabulously cash rich right now, so I mean, I have money reserved and stuff, but that's set aside for a reason.
Yeah, it's reserved,
and so it's like, I mean, but I know that we can go out and find money for whatever kind of project we're doing, as long as it's a good deal.
Right.
But if I was just starting out, there's no way that I could confidently communicate that to someone that's going to give me money and say, this is a good deal. This is like 100% going to work out for us. And as you kind of learn and find stuff and get into it, and you can kind of package it so that it makes sense, you don't even need to have the money to do it.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. Like, you'll hear people say, yeah, we came out of the gates and we did a zero money down deal or whatever. It's really tough to do on your first one. But I do think that's part of the acceleration path, is like, you get one, then you're paying less for rent, let's say. Yeah. Let's say you're still paying rent. You're paying less for rent. So that bumps your savings a little bit. It also affects your psychology, I think. You're like, okay, I'm thinking about, like, how much am I spending? Do I really want to this, that, and the other? And you just become, it changes your mind. And then you can get another one after a year, and then you have some appreciation on your property. And this thing just starts to accelerate, really, which is fascinating. And that,
I mean, that's kind of where
super motivating.
Where I'm moving into.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in the point personally where I'm like, I could take this money that I'm saving up and I could buy another place just on my own.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to do that right now. Just because I like having, like having that money in the bank. I know I can find money from some other source. Yeah. So I just like having it there as a cushion. Like, if because of my investing I actually take a step back from what I'm doing for work, active income, then have this buffer where I could just, right now, I could just not actively work for a while, and I'd be totally cool.
Yeah, we're the same right now. We're maybe about to sink a bunch of that money into a property, but I mean, I got a bunch of people in California. Yeah, their mortgage is like $4,000 or $5,000 a month.
Once you do get another
sweaty palms.
Once you do get another one, if it's still like a house hack and you live there, you're in the same situation. But now you have another building also producing income.
Yeah.
And once you get a few of those going, now your life is basic expenses are more or less covered, as long as you live pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, we're very much of the philosophy of like, we should do this, every year for couple years. We really want to do 2 years, and it'll take care of itself. It will, we have this nice cushion now. Too much cushion, probably. And we think of cushion in terms of, we know what we spend each month, and then how many months do you have, right? Like, we never want to be less than 5-6 months. It's just our, we got kids, yada yada yada. So, but I think we got to stop. So, that's a good story. Yeah.